I introduce Zet's Sceptile offense. So I'm joined by Tetra. Mr. 500, congratulations on 500 subscribers, Tetra. We've got a Slaking and Sceptile. I'm trying to figure out how to use Sceptile. At one point, I actually had HP Ice on Sceptile alongside Thunder Punch, but I really disliked basically being unable to hit any steel type. And we had HP Ice over here on the Zard, which I kind of like this synergy. We have an entire ass Leaf Blade here. So that kind of empowers the Zard to run HP Ice. I also kind of like Beat Up here. We've got a lot of like high base attack stat Pokemon to chunk Blissey, which I'll tell you, I went 10-4 on the ladder with this team. I just built it today. I ran into literally 0 Blissies and I think at least 5 separate Weezings. So I don't know what that tells you. And the Weezings were kind of gaming on me a little bit.
I'm almost wondering if something like Swampert would work better in the Donphan slot, but then you don't have a spinner anymore.
Right, and we have 5 grounded Mon.
I was gonna say, do you want the 4 other EVs on your Sceptile?
You know, no, I think we're good. I wasn't planning on using them. We do have a like more bulky attacker Metagross with Protect, which I kind of love here. We can live a lot of hits with this thing and trade like 2 for 1.
How do you deal with, say, like an Ice Punch plus Will-O-Wisp Gengar?
We don't have a great Wisp switch besides the Zard, so if the Zard takes damage, that's not good. Sceptile, though. Sceptile can come in. Doesn't hate taking a Wisp as much. We also have Pursuit, of course. Maybe there's a world where we drop Dragon Claw for Crunch or something. Maybe Thunder Punch could go back on here. I invite you to check out some of these replays. I actually ran into a member of the community, r/Butterfree, twice. And I will admit, we split games. He won one of them and I won one of them as well. Just curious as to your thoughts as to kind of how this team unfolds, and maybe we're going to learn something along the way. So he's got a lead Raikou.
Lead Raikou. When I see lead Raikou, I always think about Vapicuno's team. I don't even think it has lead Raikou, but it's got like Lumberry Raikou, and I thought, oh, that would be interesting as a lead.
I love that video. That's an awesome video that anybody watching this should definitely check out. And perhaps Earthquake is too obvious. Maybe I click Return here. I think it actually does end up being Return into this Mets, and it is. And even after -1 attack, it's doing 92%.
I feel like Return would probably kill most Raikou anyway, so I think that's a sensible click.
So I decided to go Charizard on Unrevealed Salamence. Given the team, I'm not sure what you would think about this decision. We have HP Ice on the max speed Zard, right? We could be going like Snorlax, because like what is Mets really gonna do? It is thick fat Lax, by the way. So we could take Fire Blast. And here, this is not that bad, right? Because now we just go Donphan. And it can take basically anything that happens, like +1 Rock Slide doing literally nothing. And this is going to be a turn of Pokemon, Tetra. What do you click here if you're Donphan, right?
With this little information, I'm inclined to click HP Rock, but I feel like because you're prompting me, you're going to click Earthquake, and something is going to switch in that doesn't want to take the Earthquake.
Yeah, you're close. Something's going to happen that shouldn't happen. And that something that shouldn't happen is r/Butterfree bringing the Butterfree in on represented HP Rock from the Donphan.
Oh, no. That is brutal.
Yeah, I did not feel great about that one. That was not my intention, r/Butterfree. I thought I was going to be getting chip on something else like a Suicune.
Well, to be fair, it was probably a roll, so.
Do you think, well, it is just HP Rock. It's not stab or anything. But do you really think that that's a roll to kill Butterfree?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It's probably a roll to kill it twice over.
Got it. Okay, so Suicune is here. I think I normally just go Lax. I think I'm just going Snorlax. And he subs. And there's some interesting decisions that happen here. He's going to get a Calm Mind. And I'm just clicking Double Edge. My calc, I don't have enough information on the Suicune, but some Earthquakes don't always do 25%. And I'm like, I'm not risking that. And we take so little damage when only dealing 25% that why take the risk, right? But I don't know what these subs are meant to... Like, what I don't really know what the thought was behind all those subs. But he wasted a little bit of Suicune's health. And now Mence is going to die to the Double Edge. Now, the cool thing, he gets an Intim off. Suicune can come back. But Double Edge is still doing 25%, I'm pretty sure. So I'm still kind of at a loss here.
Yeah, I mean, this would communicate to me that Butterfree is trying to PP stall you for an endgame situation, but I feel like it's way too early to be playing for that.
Yeah, could be. I did not expect the Registeel, and I go to Donphan expecting like a T-Wave or something, and it curses up. So now I'm a little worried. I'm like, are you going to be like countering me? I just decided to roar it to kind of like scout what it's doing. And we take like an HP, I don't even know what that is. That does neutral damage to ground.
Maybe Steel, maybe Fighting.
Does Ground not resist Steel? Am I crazy?
Ground does not resist steel.
It doesn't. My brain wants it to.
Think about things like Ride On, taking a super effective from Metagross Meteor Mash.
Of course, of course. So here, he's just going to blow up on the Lax, which I think makes a lot of sense. The Lax can kind of 1v1 a lot of what he's shown. And I think that puts a little bit of pressure on me. So now we reveal the Sceptile. We're Sceptile gaming. We come in on a Surf, and I think he should probably be going to Registeel a decent chunk of the time. We needed the crit for that to kill. I hit him with the My Bad, but I don't really think he needs to be staying in there, because what am I doing to Registeel besides, like, HP Fire?
Well, the crit only mattered, I think, if it was a 252 HP or around that much, Suicune. I think if it was no investment, you might have still killed anyway. I'm not sure, though.
My calc was telling me it mattered. I wouldn't have My Badded him if I didn't think it mattered. So at least Calc Dex was pretty sure that I was not getting that kill. I go Donphan on the sub, because I'm like, if this thing like gets a sub and then Calm Minds and I can't break a sub, like that's not good. And maybe there's a better line here, but I'm thinking I'm going Donphan, I'm clicking Earthquake, I'm going to have to take a Hidden Power, and then I can play from there, and then if he kills the Donphan, I can get something else in front, like Slacking, and then just clicking Earthquake could be good. At the same time, though, I do have a meta as well. So meta coming in is probably the play. Metagross coming in and clicking Earthquake. But we'll see what happens here. And it is just, we don't know which Hidden Power, of course, but it's Grass or Ice. Registeel is here. I decided to just take some chip. It did reveal Curse, so I'm like, Curse counter isn't like really a thing.
Not really.
And it's
then
Rest
here is dubious because I think you still 3-hit KO.
It was like, according to Calc Dex, because I just did 39%, right? So after leftovers, that's effectively like 32. So it was a roll to get the 3-hit KO from this position. And I thought, okay, well, I could Roar. But if I Roar, then he has Raikou in front of Donphan, and I'm giving him initiative. So I decided to go Zard, knowing that if he goes Raikou on Zard, he's in a great spot. But I didn't think he would. Though I do think that could have been a good play because, like, I don't think his Raikou wants to switch in now, and now he effectively has to give up the Registeel or hope that I miss a Fire Blast.
Yeah, how much HP does your Snorlax have?
It's down to 15%, so it's not going to be able to take anything from Raikou.
Gotcha.
So the Registeel does go down. I think there's still a world where he might be able to get this. I do have a meta, though, and the meta should be able to take 2 Thunderbolts. So I think if I go meta on the sub and click Earthquake into Earthquake, I don't think he can win without like a crit or like a para full para. Let's see if that's what I do. I actually decided to stay in and just hit the Fire Blast, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a tough situation because it's like, are you going to play for missing a Fire Blast, or are you going to play for your Metagross getting crit or parried?
Yeah, and I think it makes more sense to go meta. Maybe not, I don't know. But I don't need to protect Chip Heal. I took 50%. I should be able to live, and we take 50 both times. And bulky Metagross, not able to be 2-hit KO'd by whatever Raikou this was. And I honestly, I think the bulk is really nice on this structure. It felt good.
I want to try out like Impish Metagross, where it's basically all defense, and see what that does.
Okay, next game. I am Josh27. Don't remember as much about this one, but lead Doug.
Doug, lead Slacking.
Yeah. I'm waiting for people to go to a freaking ghost type. Nobody, I swear, I saw 0 Gengar, 0 Blissey. But we Shadow Ball a Metagross, we chip it down. Decide to go Donphan. And I think that's probably what I should be doing here, right? Like, given the team, I could go own Metagross, but like he could be clicking Earthquake, I guess.
I was also testing a Donphan team not too long ago, and I had a lead who didn't necessarily want to take the Meteor Mash. So I would switch to Donphan, and 1 or 2 times I got crit, and then basically just lost the game.
The game was just over.
So yeah. I had to restructure that team.
You know, maybe it could make sense, especially if I'm hoping to actually get a rapid spin-off, to take a little bit off of the attack investment and put more into defense. But I digress. We are here.
I like to steal from the speed.
Sure.
On that set.
I could see that. So this is a turn, right? You're in front of this Claydol. I showed Shadow Ball, Choice Band Shadow Ball. And I'm thinking he does not want to take that. Basically, I just said you're switching from the Claydol. Like, you're not going to keep the goddamn Claydol in. And the Madman simply does. and is able to get additional chip on my slacking, which is not great. Pretty unfortunate, to be honest. So I'm going to pivot the Zard in on a hopeful additional Earthquake, but I actually get a fortunate accidental double in front of the meta. This Zard has Toxic. It's a partial Benji Zard. Benji is the originator of Toxic Charizard in my Mind Palace. And I could be clicking it a portion of the time there, but I felt inclined to just pressure the Metagross and force it out. Like, if there's a world where somehow he decides to stay in and I lose my entire Charizard, like, that doesn't feel good. And we have an entire Snorlax that can come in if they do have a Suicune and we didn't click Toxic. I think I can live with that.
Interesting Doug switch by them.
Yeah, I wonder what that was meant to catch. Meta comes in, I'm going Zard, and they blow up. So definitely didn't see that coming. And I like going Sceptile here. It kind of like is great into everything revealed. How about that?
That is true. I'm actually wondering if maybe going Donphan on the previous turn, sacking that to Boom would have been better.
Yeah, so I hit the meta. And I suppose it knows it's dead if I have Earthquake coverage. And with Double Edge, I think that suggests like a more offensively oriented set where I'll probably have that kind of coverage on a set like this. So maybe he's like, this is the Metagross's last turn. It might as well get a kill. And in retrospect, I agree with you. I think going Donphan is probably a bit better. And it's no lefties either, so it's also choice banned.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it could be Lumberry, but probably not based on the damage it's doing and taking.
True. And then, hold on a second. The Zard dies. I have a whole Sceptile here. And I think what was I doing here? Why am I not just clicking Leaf Blade? I'm going meta. I guess I was thinking like, whatever your switch into Sceptile is, I kind of like meta into those matchups. But like, what wants to come in on Sceptile?
My thought would be for this team, maybe a Skarmory. This looks like it could be like what you just mentioned before, V5 Metagross, but they have Suicune instead of Milotic.
Yeah. And like them clicking Earthquake into my Sceptile is kind of wild, honestly. But they hugely chunked the Metagross, so good for them. And they have a Mag, actually. So that's... Ooh. Yeah, so we're in a bit of a spot here. And now they're pivoting to Doug on my Earthquake.
Interesting. They were hard calling out that you would protect again, I think.
Oh, yeah, sure. Maybe because the Mag can't kill from that range. And I had revealed Protect.
Yeah, my thought is that if you have cold feet about clicking a move with Magneton, you should go back to Claydol. Right, it's not super likely. And also, if it's lead Doug, it's a little more likely than usual to be Adamant, since you're not worried about a lead Tyranitar clicking a Dragon Dance and not being faster than it.
True. I agree with that. Well, I just decided to blow up on the Suicune, because I'm like, you can't kill me from this range, and something is going to die. I wouldn't have hated...
mind, that's perfect.
Yeah, this is awesome.
You have a Snorlax to sort of beat down the Suicune if you need it. So, and if you blow up the Magneton, like, oh well.
Yeah. I decided to go Sceptile here, which I have HP Fire into this. I think this is late enough into the session where I put Fire on the Sceptile. There was Ice at one point. But yeah, I mean, I guess it could have been slacking, but the problem is that Mag resists normal and wants Earthquake, but then Claydol can come in. So I didn't like that. And I figured Sceptile probably wins either 1v1. And if I find something else in the back, I mean, we have 3 other Pokemon we can pivot to. So
right, I think Sceptile was fine.
Yeah. And Sceptile, not very bulky, by the way, guys. Like, resisted Thunderbolt doing 41%. Not excellent. And my calc was wrong. It told me that Pursuit killed. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just click it then, because it kills no matter what. And that way we guarantee the kill on the Mag. And so we take additional chip unnecessarily, unfortunately. I don't think it's going to matter.
If you got parried there, that would have sucked.
Yeah, that would have sucked really bad. So, you got to make sure your calc isn't lying to you, folks. And now he shows his own Snorlax. And I still have my own Snorlax to boom in the back into slacking, which should be able to clean up the Claydol along with like the Sceptile. So I think switching to Snorlax and exploding, there's basically no way I can lose. Unless, and this is what I was thinking here, we take this return, right? So if I blow up and he goes Claydol, now I have a slacking, a Donphan, and a Sceptile, all like not at a lot of health. And it's like, if he goes to Claydol right now, is there a world where I lose this? And I think the answer is yes. So let's see how it plays out. He does go to Claydol. I do explode. And to find this line, I decided to go slacking and like just get a big return. So he either has to kill me, or he curses up. So I'm gonna switch to Donphan, which shouldn't die to anything. He goes for a second curse, and now I think I win. Because I Earthquake, if he rests, I think... Honestly, if he had rest, maybe he actually does win there.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Because slacking can't kill with Focus Punch after +2 defense, I would imagine.
Yeah, but I'm not sure about that. I don't know my slacking calcs.
Maybe you got to game with it a bit more, dude. But
maybe. But
yeah.
No, I mean, rest there could have made sense because I'm looking at this team and it's double Trappered with Claydol. It seems like it's trying to hard fish to eliminate a Tyranitar, and then eliminate a Skarmory, spin the hazards away, clear the weather, and then Snorlax should just win the game.
Exactly. I dropped a video a couple months ago called Zet's Frustration, where I have a similar structure where it's Suicune, Snorlax win conditions, there's weather clear, there's various trappers. It's lead choice band medi with Baton Pass to try to go to the correct trapper depending on who they switch to. So I think this structure is pretty strong, and I would expect this to have rest. So maybe there's a world where I am Josh27 clicks it, ends up winning. Fortunately for me, we don't live in that world, so good for me, I guess. Part of the reason I wanted to build this team in the first place is I wanted to explore with slacking, like I talked about in my recent signature moves video that I dropped. But the pace of the team I ended up making just doesn't make sense. Like, I dropped Shadow Ball at one point to try to use Sceptile as a pursuit user to, like, eliminate the Ghost type, but it's just not effective enough, and the pace of the team does not really warrant slacking trying to heal up. I could see it, like, on a slower, maybe even stall structure, maybe even with Wish support or something crazy, but...
Yeah, I think some people in your server were talking about a hypothetical slacking 4E Wish team that has slack off.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I digress. Game 3 of 3 against opshunt. And I will tell you, I don't remember that much about this, but this is what I was telling you, Tetra. I ran into so many goddamn Weezings. Again, I'm worried about Wisp. I don't think I have a move that, like, kills. Maybe Return gets there, but this thing has, like, Phys Def, right?
Yeah, most likely not. I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, and of course with Levitate, I don't think we have anything that kills. And to me, letting Slacking get Wisped is unacceptable. So I'm going Zard on Weezing most of the time. Okay, they pivot in Tyranitar. And this is just Donphan all day. I love Donphan as a Tar answer. It's so solid, specifically. And I identified, I think Tar is pretty good into the rest of our team. So we got the Zard in on a doubled Weezing. And I'm just going to click Blast. It's a 2-hit KO. No burn. But it's Thunder Weezing, which gets the freaking para. And now I'm like, wow. Fuck. Like, there goes my Wisp answer. So he probably needs to click a button to try to kill the Zard here. Otherwise, he loses the entire Weezing if he does aggressively click Wisp. Maybe he can deduce that I want to save the Zard to sack it later, and he can aggressively Wisp here some of the time. But I'm just saying, please click Thunder or something dumb again. And he lands another one into my meta, but fortunately no full para that time.
Oh,
and
jeez.
As per leftovers, we are faster. We hit a mash. We're good. They bring in Mag. Okay, we're trapped, but I'm not choice band locked or anything. I guess they didn't know that, though, at the time, because leftovers hadn't been revealed yet. Or, no, that's not even true, right? Because it came in on this Thunder. So he sees lefties. And... so I don't know how I feel about going Mag in this spot when I'm going to be going up to 81%. What do you make of that?
I would think that if you're going Mag here, what you're going to do is T-Wave the Metagross, and then you have something else in the back that abuses, like, a free turn against Metagross. Maybe like a substitute Jirachi or...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like I have no idea, honestly, because Metagross can just boom to get out of the situation.
Yeah, or of course if I have Earthquake, it's a pretty free click.
Or if it's really crazy and it's like Endure Pataya Berry.
And speaking of crazy, he's clicking Hidden Power Fire, which, mind you, does less than Thunderbolt. So
right, it's pretty close, but it is a little less, and you don't have a para chance, so it's definitely worse in my opinion.
Right. In this spot, I feel somewhat inclined to protect Chip Heal and get a little bit more health here. I haven't shown Protect. I guess if this is Agility Metagross, I'm not thrilled, but I feel like Donphan is like a decent check to Agility Gross anyway. So I do opt to protect, and it is agility metagross, which not fantastic.
Shoutouts to you for dropping some knowledge on turn 8.
Yeah, I wanted him to know. This is a 1368 gamer, and I didn't know that when I first started getting into ADV. I'm like, okay, HP Fire, surely it's super effective. It's going to do more, but sometimes math is a crazy thing in this world. And again, there's a world where we could talk about fitting counter back on this Dawn fan, but they miss a mash. A bit unfortunate for them, not gonna lie.
I mean, Earthquake is going to do about as much as counter to Metagross, as long as it's not banded anyway.
True. So here I pivot to meta because I'm telling myself I think they're gonna boom. I'm going Dawn fan. Well, I want to save the Dawn fan because I still need to check their tar, right? And it's shown physical, it's shown rock slide. So I'm like, I've already sacked my Charizard. Let's sacrifice our meta. He booms into the meta, and then we're looking good. And then he shows agility, like mixed meta. Like, what hidden power is it? HP Rock? It's surely not mixed, right? It's not like grass or anything crazy.
There's a possibility it could be grass to hit Swampert, but my guess is that it would be HP Rock. However, on a agility Metagross, I think I prefer Rock Slide, because if you get your agility off, then you have flinch chances
On the entire metagame. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
At the same time, I've heard some really good, strong ADV players basically imploring people when running agility meta to run boom over Rock Slide. So you want mash, EQ, boom coverage.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the team. I think teams that are really weak to Zapdos and Moltres would prefer Rock Slide, and teams that are not would prefer Boom.
I agree. So now I'm like, okay, well, you're maybe that's HP Rock. Like, what are you? What are you doing? So now I'm like, okay, well, apparently I could just go Donphan. Maybe it doesn't have Boom. I'm just going to protect and get some chip and scout that you do, in fact, have Earthquake. So the whole set is revealed. So now I know you can't hit the Donphan. I'll go there. And he kind of has to Earthquake, because if he tries to mash into this to deal a little bit more damage to the Donphan, then he doesn't kill my meta, and he loses his. So he hits a mash, no crit, no attack raise, and we've dealt with the meta, and the Donphan is just about healthy enough to deal with most T-Tar shenanigans. We still haven't revealed the Snorlax, which again should be able to come in pretty safely on Suicune, which is Calm Minding here. And I don't think I need to pop the Lax quite yet, right? They're going to go Tar, and I decide to Curse first, because it can't 2-hit KO me, right? So like, if I am going to explode, I can Curse beforehand. If for some reason I want to double edge afterwards, I can. And now I can just click Earthquake into the damn Tar.
Yeah, I mean, this is like Christmas morning.
And he's going to DD. He does live a +1 EQ. And yeah, I decided to just stay in and trade down with the T-Tar. We do get flinched once. As long as we don't get flinched again here, we should be fine. 36%, and we get through.
Gotcha.
And they have their own Lax. And I'm really hoping that they don't have a move that can deal 28 exactly with +1 defense. And my calc told me that there was a good shot that this return would not kill. But unfortunately it does. Of course, we click self-destruct there. And we're faster than this. We should be able to just blow up. I decided to protect first. I kind of wanted him to show me which of them he wanted to die. Because like, if he's going Suicune, I can just blow up the following turn. Maybe I'm throwing, maybe if he curses, but I did calc it. And if Snorlax curses, my boom still kills, apparently. So I don't hate this protect, do you?
I'm not. So this particular protect, I think, is okay. I think the worst case scenario is that he switches to Suicune. And then what is Suicune revealed? Just Calm Mind.
Yeah.
There's a chance that this could be like a substitute Suicune, and if it subs on your boom, then you're in trouble.
I suppose that's true. I suppose there's worlds where teams that look like this could have an out if I allow him to switch to the Suicune. I do think, though, that even if it is sub Suicune, I'm so ahead. Like, he's seen my entire set. It's not necessarily boom last, but I think it's often boom last here, right? So even if it is sub Suicune, I think most of the time he's like, I gotta let him blow up my Lax and hope that Suicune can just win.
Right.
But
actually, I think if we actually go back a few turns before the Snorlax died, I think on the turn that it got flinched the first time.
Yeah, against
on
the
the Talk
tar.
Slide.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't hate going for like not getting flinched or not getting crit there, but personally, I think I would have went to Donphan after getting flinched because I think that Donphan is more likely to beat this Tyranitar. It almost feels like you need Snorlax for Suicune in case things get hairy.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like the last on this sort of team, when I see Suicune, Metagross, and Magneton, to me that like screams Snorlax.
Yeah.
And I think that Roar Donphan is probably good enough into Snorlax that you're fine allowing that to come in.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I guess like the Donphan was at 58%, and he basically has to be clicking Rock Slide here. So we come in and take not very much from the Rock Slide. And then he probably needs to get a flinch. So yeah, in retrospect, I was telling myself that I think the Donphan might be a little too chipped to switch into +1 T-Tar and then still deal with it.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I think you were right.
Yeah, but let's see what happened anyway.
Yeah.
This is going to be a little more interesting, I think.
Yeah, I do think that by winning with this Snorlax, maybe I'm happier that... Because, like, would I rather... If the Donphan had checked the tar and eliminated it, he could bring the Suicune in, and if there's a world where it is sub or like Calm Mind, he gets to at least get one free turn while I switch out. I guess I could just EQ, and like...
Yeah, you could EQ or Roar, I think, and then just sack the Donphan off.
Okay, yeah, I don't hate that either. Definitely some interesting lines. And again, he gets the return. I decide to protect the following turn. I bring the meta in. I see that he does, in fact, have Earthquake.
There's no way that you have 252 plus Snorlax, and you looked at the calc and saw that it was not 252 plus Snorlax for him and said, yeah, I lived that.
I don't know. Like, again, calc decks assume sets all the time, and I try to do a decent job, but...
But you know what assuming does?
My freshman year physical science teacher had this whole bit where... My last name is Zetz, right? So when we were like getting like assigned seats, like first day of like high school, literally freshman year, he like tells everybody where to go. And it's a very common pattern. Like it's alphabetical, first row, all the people with like, you know, ABC last name, and it's clear like what's going on. I'm like the last person. So he says the second to last person tells them where their seat is. And then after a second, I just start walking. And then he did the whole thing. He put it on the chalkboard and everything, and people were laughing. And that was the best damn teacher I ever fucking had, bro. Mr. Gassation. Shoutouts to you, Mr. Gassation. Hope you're still around. He was a little older at the time. But anyway, we blow up on the lags. We bring in Sceptile. And I don't know if there's a world where they can get out of this one.
They could Calm Mind and they don't get 2-hit KO'd, but
right.
I think they're still 3-hit KO'd. They'd have to rest. Like, it's kind of over for them.
Yeah, I think it's pretty over. And I think they thought that as well. Because we got the forfeit. So yeah, Tetra, that is the team. Those are the replays. After kind of seeing it in action, have you changed your like mind? Or do you have any like other thoughts? Like, if you were iterating upon this, like, what do you like? What do you think like you would do to, you know, further this team and make it a little bit more like better into certain things that you think it's bad against? I'm just fucking rambling here, so I'm gonna shut the fuck up. Actually.
No, I mean, I think that there's some good thoughts here. Spikeless offense is kind of tough. Like, you have to get a lot of plays right.
Right. Right.
So, like, obviously, like, my thought is, like, oh, if there was a Fortress or a Skarmory here, then things would look better. But I'm not sure what Pokemon would have to go to make that happen. Unfortunately, I think slacking is... It's not, like, the...
It didn't do much in the replays that we saw. And honestly, in all 14 of the games I played, there were some end games where it came in and like killed a Lastmon, and that is helpful. And I think it's also it's like user error to some degree. I don't know exactly how to best use this. And it feels awkward to revenge things in the mid game with this, because then like, okay, like you revenge, but you still need to like click the right button. And even if you get a kill, then they get initiative immediately. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about the slacking, honestly.
My fear with slacking is like you'll get a kill and then something like a Jirachi will come in, set up a Calm Mind, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna hit it back, and then it has a fast substitute, and you're like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah, and now it's just over.
That's like very uncommon. I think probably like defensive Jirachi with protect would be more reasonable and dangerous, but
Right.
in any case, such is the life of a slacking user.
Cool, man. Well, any other thoughts on this team?
I'm wondering still if Dragon Claw is all that necessary on Sceptile. Like, is this team that bad into Mixments that you need it?
Yeah, possibly not. And the craziest thing is, against at least one of the mixed Ments I did run into, Dragonclaw did 50% to the Ments. And I was like, holy shit, that is like... I mean, it's like, it's a 2-hit KO most of the time, especially if there's sand up, but like, damn. Like, I would appreciate a little bit more leeway, but Sceptile just like doesn't really have it like that. We do have HP Ice on like Timid Charizard. We have like Snorlax for mixed Ments, and Fizzments is walled by the Donphan. So I guess the thing is like, what else am I putting on this thing though? Like, what am I putting on the fucking Sceptile? I could throw Leech.
I mean, Leech or Substitute could be ideas. I mean, I'm also a little bit skeptical about how good it is at pursuit trapping, because if the Gengar simply stays in and clicks either Fire Punch or Ice Punch, then it's who's really trapping who.
True.
Right?
Yeah, maybe we need Crunch for like the mind game aspect of it. But I will concede, I did not run into a Gengar, but this is probably not the greatest pursuit user ever, though I think it's just uncommon enough that it'll probably do things on low to mid ladder. So if you're watching this and you're also hanging out in the 13, 14, 1500s, give this team a go. Let me know in the comment section how it goes. And thanks for watching. And as always, sub to Tetrafolium.
Oh, also, what is Hasty Nature for?
It's for max speed but minus attack. And there's a world where it's like,
Am I crazy or is that timid?
Let's take a look. Dude, maybe I picked the wrong one. Maybe I like
Hasty is plus speed minus I think it's like minus defense or something.
Oh wow, it actually is minus defense. That is insane. Okay, so I wanted plus speed minus attack, lmao, which is timid.
Yeah.
It's just supposed to be timid, like Zard. Now, okay, let me ask you a question. You're the speed tier guy. You know things concerning speed tiers. Modest or timid, given the team and what we've seen today?
The biggest consideration would be your Starmie matchup, right?
Yeah.
If you have a slower Sceptile than Starmie, eventually, because you don't have like Leech Seed or anything, your Sceptile is going to get worn down, and if it's ever in Ice Beam range, then now you do not have a switch in for Starmie. And like Starmie's not the only matchup that's like this, where it's like a water plus ice move is a little dangerous into this team, but it is the fastest one.
So we gotta outspeed fastest Gengar and Starmie, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So Gengar's 350, but that's a lot slower than Starmie. Starmie would be 362 or 363, whichever one it gets to. But the thing about 363 is Jolly Tyranitar at +1 is 364.
Okay.
So if you want to outspeed that, still 365 would be the way to go.
I think absolutely. That's probably worthwhile. And then probably just the rest in HP, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, I don't really feel like doing a bunch of calcs to figure out.
Yeah, right. There could be
to go in
little
HP
optimization
or defense or something. But
cool. All right. Well, thanks for helping me optimize this. And yeah, again, guys, check the team out, give it a shot, let us know how it goes, and thanks for watching.